So back to what I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? It feels so good to say that again.
The fact that you were able to do it without a script.
Ah, man. Welcome to Life on Podcast, where we listen and inspire friends everywhere.
Look at that.
There it is. Evolution. That's right. We have some changes and stuff. So y'all, welcome. We are going to catch y'all up on everything that has been going on. Welcome, guys. So we are going to entitle this, Johnny, Where in the Stew Has Life on Podcast Been?
I like it. Let's follow the real big road.
Just telling y'all right now, so we don't have any kind of light outline or anything because we're just going to catch y'all up.
I don't think we need one.
We really don't. I mean, those of you who are faithful followers and fans and friends, first of all, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We still have some downloads going on, so that was great. But as you may or may not know, we have been quiet now for like a month.
Been about a month.
Like since April 4th. We have been quiet, and it has been for good reason, but we want to catch you guys up. We didn't fall off. And we teach about consistency and commitment.
Listen, we dropped an episode a week for a year and 3/4 plus. I don't think our consistency can be questioned.
No, it cannot. So, but life hit us.
Oh my God, did it?
In good ways and bad ways. Yeah. And so where do we start? Let's start with you first because let's start with the good. Because yours has been good because it's been
like all of mine's been good. All of mine has not.
Well, it all hasn't because you had family issues in Florida.
We did.
So share that to whatever degree you can, and then the work stuff. Because the work stuff, I'm actually excited about for you.
The work stuff is cool. I look forward to talking about that. I actually had some health stuff myself.
Okay.
I don't talk about this much. My wife didn't even know about this a while ago. But I had blood clots a couple years ago. I kept that real quiet.
That crap is so serious, and after what I went through, Lord, now I know really how serious that crap is.
Mm-hmm. I kept it super quiet. I mean, what was happening? I was having
your legs?
some pain in my legs, and I would wake up and my legs would be freezing, and I would have my like, hey, my leg, like, what is going on with my leg? I mean, she's like, your leg's hot, and I'm like, my leg is freezing. So I finally went to the doctor. I told my wife, hey, there's some stuff going on. I need to adjust some stuff. I didn't lie. I'm real big on not lying. But I couldn't make her panic because she was literally in the middle of rebranding her company. Her stress levels were through the roof. I couldn't put that on her. Now, it would have sucked had I died. But I was doing the faith thing.
She would have been pissed.
I did everything I needed to do to make sure we took care. I took everything the doctor told me to take. I made adjustments I needed to make. And, so I thought they came back is what actually happened. So I was right in the middle of work getting busy again. I started having pains in my chest. And
give me a date. Where are we? What timeline are we talking?
We are mid-March.
Oh, so this is before, even after our last episode.
Exactly.
Okay.
I was having some pains here, and it felt like what it would feel like in my legs. Like it would be in the top, and then it would move down. The pain would be here. It would move, and I was like, "Yo, I hope this hasn't come back and one move to my, up here."
Right.
So I'm panicking. I went and I did see the doctor again. It's not what it was. They hooked me up to all of the machines and stuff. They checked for arrhythmias. We went through the whole protocol they went through the first time and found out that's not what it was. Full transparency, we still don't know what these chest pains are. So I've still got some more appointments to go through to try to figure out exactly what this is I'm dealing with.
They're recurring?
It is. Like it actually doesn't feel great right now. Like there's a little pinch that I'm feeling now. My heart's fine, according to.
Does it hurt to breathe in or out?
Nope.
Does it hurt when you move anymore?
It hurts when I move. Yeah, like certain movements.
If any of you guys have ever experienced anything like that and you might have some insight, obviously definitely hit us up.
Hit me up. Let me know.
You know what I mean?
Doctors do not know everything.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, they don't know. I'm in the middle of a whirlwind and I don't have time to like go through all the batteries of tests and stuff. But they have reassured me that it's not currently life or death, so I'm okay right now. But that was what it was. It was a scare. Like I thought that was back. So, and it was right, like I said, right in the middle of me getting busy again. A whole bunch of projects started popping up. We finally were able to talk about the McKinsey stuff that I was doing with the Flowers and Crowns podcast with those guys. There were some Coca-Cola products I was supposed to be working on. My last huge client was actually the federal government.
And to remind you guys once again, Johnny's not only an on-air personality at KISS 104. He does live engineering for live shows and events.
And I've been more technical directing and project managing more so lately too.
There you
go. So the I keep calling it the American Health Association because of the H. It's the American Hospital Association. It was the CEOs of all the hospitals in the country. Their big national event. It was the first event back since the COVID shutdowns. So that was kind of stressful putting that together. It wasn't nearly as bad as that November thing when I almost killed that kid last year. It was nothing like that.
Oh,
but it was,
jeez, oh my God.
It was still a big show. So a lot of moving parts. Dr. Anthony Fauci was one of the primary presenters for it.
Nice.
Joe Manchin was there. The Surgeon General was. So just to kind of give you the level of what this was. So government stuff can always be kind of taxing just because of the clearances you got to go through. The security in Washington, D.C. is insane. So just coming off of that semi-health scare thing, thinking it was and then just finding out that it wasn't 4 days before I got on a plane to go to D.C., he was kind of a thing.
Right.
And this was all while, I remember I came back here. We were supposed to record. We were supposed to actually do an episode.
Yeah.
I did. I took a week after I found out.
Oh, that was when I pissed you off?
Well, all right. So we'll touch on this just because we're open books for y'all. Stone has, granted, both of our calendars are fluid, but Stone has he's made a semi-habit of like canceling like day of.
Habit is a strong word. Even semi-habit is a strong word.
What I teach,
it's happened more than a few times.
What I teach,
but not to be said, it's happened often.
What's a few? What's a few?
I count few as maybe 4 or 5 times.
I count them as 3. So what I teach my son: first time is an accident, second time is a coincidence, third time is on purpose. You do something 3 times with me.
Okay, I get it.
That's a habit.
But in over a year of doing something, I mean, I wouldn't call it a habit.
Okay. Well, so
perspective.
On my vacation that I took after I found out that I wasn't dying.
Yes.
Well, I was literally on the beach for 4 days, just trying to relax my mind, gearing up for this ridiculous run.
Getting crispy.
I could not get a flight back to Atlanta, so I had to drive back to Atlanta. So I drive back to Atlanta. And as I'm pulling into my garage at 11:02 p.m., I get a text message from this guy canceling. And I could have just stayed in Florida for 3 more days. Now, this is we'll talk more about the good stuff, but this kind of segues into what's been happening with you and how all of our stuff kind of crossed over. So I have a health scare. Find out it's not really as bad as I initially thought it was, just because you immediately WebMD yourself and you go to the worst. I go to the beach to recover, relax, all that stuff before I go on this 60-day stretch of amazing stuff, which we'll get into later, and then Stone cancels on me.
After a 6-hour drive back.
After a 6-hour drive back to Atlanta. And I called
literally just for the podcast.
I came back for that.
Just for the podcast.
I came back for it because, I mean, we had a couple in the can just because we knew I was going to be getting busy. But I was like, man, we got to get back to it. Just because I wanted to make sure we were on time and ahead. And I lied to you not. When I saw that text message, I said, I bet you this is Stone.
And you know it's bad because Johnny hit me with a text like, yo, we need to talk. I need y'all to think of any conversation that was ever good that started off with "we need to talk."
Now, but now listen, was it a bad conversation?
No. Well, given once you found out what happened, it wasn't a bad conversation.
But I mean, even then, I was like, yo, this is my brother. I just want to address something.
You was about to talk to me like Lil Junior.
I mean, I wasn't gonna break my foot off, but I was gonna show him the boot. Is what we were going to. But it turned out to it was a real reflective night after. You was like, no, we need to talk now. If we're going to, can't let that hang.
Right.
We need to talk now. So when we talked, and I was like, yo. So literally, I just had all these flashes, like, yo, and you told me everything in that. Like, you told me
about D.
Leading into, I mean, I saw the knee thing with you. I knew about that. And then you told me the other stuff. And I was like, okay, so everybody's just been like going.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a month.
The last 14 21 days.
It's been a hell of a month, for real.
You know, so that's me leading up to the good stuff.
Right.
We can talk about the good stuff in a little bit.
Well, mine will be brief. Is first and foremost, just respect the shout out to my man Deshante Cox. We called him D Cox. Unfortunately, he was one of my managers here, my head engineer and trainer of other engineers. Unfortunately, we lost him on April 6th due to health related reasons. So that was a big blow to everything. I then had knee surgery on April 8th, 2 days later, after tearing it up playing ball with these youngins. I'm officially retired.
I'm doing that.
And then all of that was in the middle of my wife. She went in for a hysterectomy on the 29th. They accidentally cut her aorta, which is the major artery in your body. Yeah. So she ended up bleeding out. They had to abandon that and do life-saving surgery. She lost over 15 liters of blood. If you guys don't know what that means, your average woman of average height and weight carries 5 liters of blood. So every time they put in 5 liters, she bled it out. So they did that 3.5 times. She ended up being on a ventilator for 5 days. Long story short, doctor told me we're not day to day, we are hour to hour. So I literally was sitting there contemplating, what in the world does this mean? Like, I'm about to lose my wife. Anyway, that was a very surreal moment. Good news is she started recovering faster than everyone anticipated. There was a lot that went in there. There were several surgeries, so we'll skip over all that, but everything ended up going great. She came off the ventilator a day earlier than they thought. She came home, couldn't eat or keep anything down for 4 or 5 days, so I had to put her back in because at this point I'm concerned with nutrition and dehydration. So we put her back in. Turns out she had fluid that developed in her esophagus, her stomach, and her pelvic area, and that fluid became infected. So then they had to drain all that stuff out. So at the end of the day, she was in the hospital for a total of 20 days. She finally came home. She has a PICC line. It's PICC line. It's basically an IV is a thing that goes into your chest. So it delivers antibiotics and antifungal. So she's on that for like another 2 weeks. But good news is she has turned the corner. She is eating. She is drinking. Yeah. She's up, walking around.
I heard her voice about 20 minutes ago, which I had to hold myself in from like getting giddy. Yeah. I didn't even ask how she's doing yet because I knew we were going to be doing it.
Oh, the part that I missed, if any of you guys know anything about health stuff, she went into a condition called DIC. This is the blood clotting issue. This is why I said I learned how bad blood clots can be. Mm-hmm. And with DIC, it's where your blood doesn't clot where it's supposed to, and then it clots where it's not supposed to. Typically, people who go into DIC do not make it out. Right. So I've now had my cousin, Nicole, she's a doctor, she's an internist, and then Tasha's, primary. And then we were on the phone with a doctor yesterday speaking with attorneys, and all 3 of them called her a medical miracle. They said, do you understand that it's a miracle you're alive? So needless to say, we're in an attitude of gratitude right now. Absolutely. And so having to take care of her in a knee brace, can't bend my knee, it's been hell.
No challenge.
But after we share Johnny's good news, I'm going to share some lessons that I took away from this. Because you know me, I'm going to try to take something out of everything.
If anybody missed it, I actually saw this. You posted it. I think it was Instagram. Might have been Facebook. One of them.
It is that, and I'm going to share that.
And I watched it twice. I was because no, I'm not gonna lie. Normally, when Stone puts those things up, I don't watch them. Reason being, I've known Stone for so long. He can kind of predict what I'm gonna say. I can predict what he's gonna say. But I mean, after kind of just the realization of what both of us kind of went through, and then the severity of what y'all went through, I literally sat there and I watched it, twice back to back, and just kind of absorbed it. And like even with I looked at what I was dealing with as minor up against what you guys had going.
She is minor until it's major.
Exactly
right.
And it's like what I was thinking about was exactly that. Was like how easily it could become major.
Blink of an eye.
Yeah.
When you figure a hysterectomy is an outpatient procedure.
Yeah.
And most women are like, you're in and out, boom, 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 exactly. Recover 5 days, whatever. And look what it turned into.
And it turns into 20 days in the hospital. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to actually talking about that because it I'm not gonna say it changed my perspective, but it's one of those moments. You know how I'm not big on hopium. I don't.
Every time we would pray, and I had to keep all the family up to date every second, and which everyone appreciated. But I didn't share it with everyone,
sure,
because some people they can't help but worry,
right?
They can't help but speak things that you don't want to happen. Right. So I didn't want that energy out there, absolutely. So I didn't share it with them. And I just shared it with people who I knew. Now, we had some family members who struggle with that too, but they're family. Mm-hmm. So I would literally give them things to say. I say, if you can't speak something positive or whatever, I say, keep your mouth shut. Yep. If you have to say something, and I would literally give them things to say. Mm-hmm. So you said something that made me say that.
No,
but
it's
to your point,
me not smoking hopium thing.
right? And I kept thinking of you.
Thought about me.
That's what I kept. Johnny, I was like, Johnny gonna think this is all some bull.
Everybody looks at Johnny as just being a negative Nancy. He's the biggest pessimist.
Negative man.
And it's not the case. It's I'm one of those people. I'm such a realist to where I look for true signs of there being a need for it. True signs of security in what hope can be before I allow myself to.
That is the first I've even heard you acknowledge. That's the closest I've ever heard you to even acknowledging it.
It's been a serious
wow.
It's been a serious month, and there's been some reflection, like I said. And like I told you, after watching that 2 times back to back, like it
tell you, man, I'm gonna drip on you like water on a rock.
Dude,
like water on a rock. we drip on each other.
We rub off on.
We do, cause wow. Oh Jesus.
You couldn't get through one episode back.
I wouldn't even.
You couldn't get through one.
I wouldn't even have known if you didn't say anything.
One episode.
Get
back.
your mind right. How about that?
I hadn't even said anything before you caught yourself.
Go ahead. I didn't catch myself. You caught it, but go ahead. I digress.
That's it. Good things. Okay, so out of all of this craziness, my clients have gotten. I've had big clients for a while. I'm in the middle of graduation week right now. We had Georgia State University this week. Shout out to Chris Bridges. Graduate Christopher Ludacris Bridges, as he said.
The honorary degree.
Got his degree from Georgia State. We produced their graduation this year. I've got Georgia Tech that starts tomorrow, which when you hear this, it will have already happened. And I'm putting it out there. We are recording this. This one ain't live. So it's been a busy week for graduation. So those are clients that are normal. Those are recurring ones. The government one was a step up. I've done government stuff before. I've had some presidential candidates. This thing was a little bit different, given that these are the people who are literally controlling the destiny of what this country is going to do coming out of this health crisis. So I got to hear some things that some people won't hear for months now. Which
That's awesome.
Interesting.
Actually, I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I feel very privy to some information just from being in those rooms. And then the big client, I'm glad that I can actually announce this now. We've been working on this deal for a long time. I have been saying for years that I'm going to go to anime. I'm going to go experience the anime conference. Not only am I going to go experience it,
oh my gosh,
I am producing.
We got to make sure we hashtag that one, anime.
Yo, I will be in LA for anime this year.
Let me tell you something right now. If you faithfully post, your followers are going to go through the roof.
Absolutely.
They're going to go through the roof.
Dude, I'm gonna fly my wife and my son out. They're shopping for costumes right now, so all time we're gonna be dressed up, looking crazy. So things have been growing. So I've been in the planning phase of that. Looking forward to that happening, and a lot of other big stuff that's coming up that I haven't fully solidified. That's the big project I've got working on right now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been I don't want. It's not bittersweet. It's been really sweet with its taste of bitterness.
Sounds like money to me.
Yes.
That's all I'm getting out of it. Sounds like money to me.
Yes. Because there've been some other bad, like that dreaded house thing that I've talked about. One property that we got. We got one problem property.
Yeah.
It turned. We had a mold outbreak. I don't know if we even talked about this.
You mentioned it.
Did I mention? Okay. Well, the mold outbreak turned into something worse than it was. Like it covered like 60% of that house. So everything had to be ripped out of that house. So here we are, $17,000 later.
And
that has been like a lingering all of this. Because again, when I thought I was having this health scare, I was like, okay, dude, I'm bleeding money again. I'm probably gonna have to pay whatever for whatever this health thing's about to be. The anime thing wasn't done yet. Because in our world, you may make a nice chunk of change in 3 months, and then
nothing.
You made nothing for a few months.
Like an actor.
Exactly. It's the same kind of thing. So it literally started working like clockwork. We finished that project. I didn't know where stuff was going to come from. Got the good news that it's not as severe as I thought it was. Signed the anime deal 4 or 5 days later, which huge monkey off my back. So I'm looking forward to the next 3.5, 4 months of just kind of getting knee deep into work and diving into that. And I'm not going to even fill myself with hopium and say put this negative stuff behind me, because I don't know if this stuff is done yet. We don't know.
Well, what has happened has happened.
It has happened.
So we can be thankful for that.
But exactly. But what it does do is it raises your awareness of what you definitely need to pay closer attention to.
I was just going to say, you're a lot smarter for it.
Exactly. So I'm keeping it, not putting it out of sight, out of mind, keeping it close enough to where I'm focusing on what I need to focus on, so that even taking the health stuff even more serious now.
Which makes for a great segue.
Absolutely.
Because that's what I want to share with you guys.
All right. right, now slam dunk it, MJ.
Boom! Actually, I'm retired now. Remember, I'm officially retired.
Officially.
So the things I want to share with you guys are some lessons that I pulled out of Tasha's ordeal or our ordeal. And I really want you to take these things to heart. I think they can change your life. I think they can help you be prepared for the unexpected. And even if the unexpected doesn't happen, you put yourself in a good situation anyway. All right. So, and chime in on your thoughts on it as we go through it.
I'm in class, teach.
So
Educate us, senpai.
So one of the first things I was just thankful to God for during this whole thing was if you can get yourself, first of all, not everyone can be an entrepreneur. We understand that. Not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. So if it's not your lane or your path, then this might not necessarily apply to you, and it's not a bad thing. However, if the entrepreneurial spirit is in you and it's something for you to do, I encourage you to own your own business. And not just own your own business, but get it to the point where it can successfully run without you physically being there to run it. That has been probably the biggest blessing, or one of the biggest blessings actually, in this whole ordeal. If I had a 9-to-5, I do not know how I would have been able to tend to Tosh. And she's the type of person, it's not just her, but the doctors were all saying how important it was. Like there was somebody in that room with her 24 hours a day, except in the very, very beginning when you weren't allowed to stay overnight in the ICU. But after that, 24 hours a day. And of course, the majority of those hours were me. But just being able to hold her hand, talk to her when I didn't know if she was hearing me or not, playing her favorite worship music and favorite things. She came back later and she actually recalled some of the things that I did.
So she was okay.
There were some things she recalled, some things she absolutely doesn't remember. But then there are a couple of things that she did. And she said, when you played that song, she said, she said, Jesus came into the room. And she's like, I hung on to that so much. And I was like, wow, I wasn't sure if you were hearing it. And she goes, I heard it. Says, I heard you praying. Said, I heard you. I felt you holding my hand. But she just couldn't communicate. So, but to be able to spend that amount of time there, I could not have done if I had a 9-to-5. Shout out to the 9-to-5s. All right, most of us we've all done it. It's respectable, but if there is a way where you can be your own boss and free yourself up to, address whatever life throws at you, it would be very helpful.
Yeah, I will add this because I mean I'm in that middle zone. Like my business kind of can't run on its own, because I'm kind of a focal point.
Absolutely, yeah.
There are some things that I can set in motion. I can step away, but I kind of have to be hands on with it.
Yeah, Not like I said, everyone's not necessarily going to be in. Even though that's your own business,
exactly,
it's not the type that you set up to run, unless you hire someone under you. And
exactly, the whole delegation thing is hyper important. But what I do highly recommend that even if you can't. If you're not, I'm not gonna say can't, because can't's a terrible term to use for this. But if you're not in a position to create and build a business that is fully automated, build your village. Because we get so, and especially in our culture, it's we put our kids out when they're 18. You can't come home, go figure it out yourself. It's time to do it on your own, and then you just have this mentality of do it on my own, get it out the mud, all of that. Dude, in my predicament, if we didn't have family members around us to kind of support, I'm not gonna even say just the financial aspect, even just emotional. Because when I go down, I mean, that's a huge financial hit. I mean, my wife does make a very decent living herself, but I mean, you feel that.
But your lifestyle requires both of you guys.
Our lifestyle is built around both of us, which is probably a terrible thing to do too. But I mean, that's how we did it. That's what works for us. Lean on your people, and I'm not just talking about your mom, your dad, your cousins, your sisters, your brothers. I mean, you've got friends out there that are close to you, just like family. Like, get past those barriers of I can't reach out to a person, or get past those barriers where you have to make it transactional. Like, if they haven't done something for me, that I can't do something for them or whatever. Like, build that foundation with your people. And I say do it selfishly. Don't do it from the mindset of I may need you one day, but do it from the mindset of I may need you one day.
And we're actually literally going to touch on that.
Yeah, we need people. Stone talks about that. We are
built for community.
Exactly. Now, even though I'm a hermit, I do very much so enjoy being by myself. However, I maintain my connections with my very close friends and my family, not just because I may need them, but I do understand that that's a necessity. And once in a while, I got to come out of my shell sometimes. I got to go hang out with some people and get refilled. You can't keep pulling from the well without pouring something back into it. So build that extension if you can't build a business like Stone has. Because if you go down under anything, those people that really care about you, you won't have to ask them to step up for you.
Yep.
And they won't feel obligated. They'll be doing it out of pure compassion and pure love, and you will feel that, and you will need it. So do that at the very least.
Yep. And we're actually going to touch on that again on my point 7. But my second point, for family and friends, all right, take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. You are no good to anyone if you are fragile or broken yourself. All right. And I always use the airplane. Yep. The airplane example. There's a reason why they say to put your mask on first before helping someone else. You are no good to anyone if you're not in any good shape yourself. So if you want to be there for your family members or friends, you want to be a part of that village, take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. All right. And as far as for you yourself, same thing applies. All right. Take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally, which leads into my fourth lesson.
Wait,
that was 3. Yeah. Because first was for family members. If you want to be there for someone,
I'm with you.
And then you yourself take care of yourself.
Right, I don't want to miss nothing. That's all I'm doing.
It's all good. And so my fourth lesson is, if your body doesn't have the reason why it's so important for you to take care of yourself is if your body doesn't have the physical reserves to call upon when it becomes compromised, then you become virtually helpless and totally dependent, which is why it's so important you take care of yourself. Learn how to be, well, first of all, that's on the physical side of it, right? On the emotional side, learn how to be joyful and not just happy, okay? Happiness goes right out of the window the moment a crisis hits. Joy, it has the ability to acknowledge the bad because you don't want to be in denial. But instead of sitting there and copying the squat and rolling around in the muck and mire, acknowledge the bad, say, okay, this is happening. But then focus and rehearse the good, AKA smoke some hopium. All right. Joy knows how to stay on the right side of perspective, which is something that you will need emotionally and mentally. All right. When you constantly are looking at, okay, what can I get out of this? What is it that I can do, and not focus on what I can't do, it will help you overcome the things you can't do, or at least get through it. Sure. All right. So those are some important things that I came out on the lesson number 4. Lesson number 5. Again, talking about your mental. And the reason why your mentality is everything, because mental is everything. Mm-hmm. Everything starts in your mind, especially when your body is compromised. All right. When your body becomes compromised, you have 2 choices. You either have the adverse condition, which can become then the workout to strengthen your mind, sure. Right? You could, okay, I'm going to use this to become mentally fit. Mm-hmm. Or the adverse condition can be where you put your mental strength to work because you've already been working on your mentality and have a strong mentality before everything hit. Same thing with physical strength when we talked about having reserves. So in other words, get prepared for stuff like this before the crap hits the fan. You know what I mean? So you want to work on your mind, getting your mind strong. And you say, well, Stone, how do you do that? We'll actually do an episode on that, how to have a strong mentality. Because there are some things you can do to have a strong mentality.
I have nothing for it, so we'll be building that one from scratch.
No, for sure. Yeah, you can. There are definitely some things you can do to have a strong mentality. And a lot of it deals with practical and what do you want to call it? Not practical, but intangible, but not universal or ethereal, but you know that you can't touch. What's this?
Intangible.
Somewhat supernatural. There's a supernatural part to it. You know what I mean? Okay. When you talk about frequencies and like all of those things play a role, so we'll definitely dive deep into that. When you said intangible, that was kind of what I was. There's all that stuff, yeah. So point number 6, and this gets to what you were talking about. We're leading into the village now. All right. When you say don't be afraid to ask people, right? And typically you're going to have people who say, "Let me know if I can help you."
Sure.
Absolutely. It's almost like the whole thing is like when someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
No one ever really truly expects you to answer that question.
Most people don't. We've already talked about it.
If
I ask, I mean it. Yeah. Tell me how you.
And I'm so used to people not meaning it, I won't answer it.
Exactly.
And that's just kind of how it is in society. Like, hey, how are you doing? Yeah. You'd be like, "Oh, I'm fine," and you literally just saw murder or something. I mean, you know. So there are 2 types of people when you're in these situations, these crises. There are 2 types of "can I help yous." this is what I've discovered in this whole scenario.
Number one, the rhetorical one, I bet, right?
Well, number one, it's not rhetorical really. It's really it's translated as, how can I assist you?
Okay.
So there's some the person's still kind of reserving their convenience.
Sure.
They're still kind of reserving their comfort. Now, I don't want to get too deep involved, but since I do know you, I like you, and we're friends, I also don't want to turn my back on you per se. So it's almost like like when I eat, I don't ask someone says, "Would you like some?" I say, "You don't want none, do you?" So that way I offered it, I offered it, but really I don't want you to have any.
Oh, man.
So I'll get some stuff like, "You don't want none, do you?"
Oh, my God.
So some people kind of have that when they say, "Let me know if I can help you. Let me know if there's anything you need." Most people mean it, but if they truly knew the depth of your situation,
right,
they'd be like, I didn't really mean it. So that's why I say the first one is translated, how can I assist you?
Okay.
All right. And what does that look like? It's like going to the drugstore. Like I needed someone to take me to the drugstore.
I remember this now.
Yeah. So something like that, or bringing me, get some groceries. Someone like, "Hey, I'm going to Publix. You need me to bring you anything?"
Right.
Kind of at a distance, things like that.
Yeah, not in the trenches with you. But,
Right. But I
I'll
don't
bring
want
your ammo pack, but I'm not getting down there with you.
Basically. And I don't want to discount that or make that sound like that's not valuable, because that one time when I did need a ride to CVS and I couldn't drive because of my brace,
Right.
My neighbors sped me up there, and like the doctor called it in like 7 minutes before CVS was closing.
Nice.
And I needed it that night.
That's that Dr. Concierge stuff that you get.
No,
when you
yeah,
hit that next
she
tax
was the one.
bracket.
Our doctor, I can call her on herself.
You got to own your own automated business stuff for it.
Whatever. So she called it in. They were closing in 7 minutes. I was like, how am I going to get there? The one lady who I knew would do it, she lived 5 minutes from me. I was like, and then she's not the fastest in the world. I said, she ain't going to get here. And so I saw my neighbor across the street. His truck was there. I said, dude, man, is there any way you can shoot me to CVS? I'm going through this. He goes, yeah, man, just meet me outside. So I hobbled downstairs, outside, exactly. And he was like, what happened to you? No time to talk.
Drive.
So we shot up to CVS. When I say I'm walking in and they were pulling down the gate.
Yeah.
I was like, but thank God there were 2 or 3 people in line.
Right on.
So that was extremely important. So it might have been a how can I assist you? Yeah. But it was very important at that time. So I don't want to make it sound like one is better than the other. However,
everything has its place.
Yeah. However,
there's levels to this.
Right. There you go. And one can tend to be maybe more impactful. And that's when the how can I help you is, can I go through this with you?
Yeah.
That's that second level kind of help. You know what I mean? That's when like there are times, especially in times like this, there's times when being present for a multitude of unexpected inconvenience moments that come up and and you have to understand that needs and crises, they have neither schedule nor a clock in mind when they arise. There is no such thing as convenient. You know what I mean? Inconvenience moments of need, they recognize neither a schedule nor a clock. I mean, so it's invaluable when you have that person who's just there. And if they're not physically at the moment, it's just a phone call away and they're there.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how often, and I got to shout her out, Elizabeth Clark. She was the one who stayed overnight with Tosh. And it's not that I wouldn't have, but one, got a doggone dog at the house.
Dog makes a challenge.
Oh my gosh, that's a
Dogs
liability.
Dogs got to go out. Dogs got to get outside. Yes, they are.
And we could have got people to do that. But since I just had knee surgery, and in the chair that they had, normally it's a comfortable chair. I just could not do it. Like I would try to rest, I had to get up every 5 seconds because it was hurting my knee. And then when Tosh needed something, I had to try to get up, and then it just wasn't working with my brace. And I'm one that I'll make anything work, but I wasn't the most effective help that she could have.
You could have possibly been making the situation worse.
You know what I mean? So here comes Elizabeth. Dun, 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 dun. She goes, "Oh, I'll stay with her all night." She was like, that's that help.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, getting groceries was important. People bringing food was mad important. Doing my laundry was important. But that woman being there 24/7, she understood about medications because her sister's a nurse. So she was asking the doctors all the right. She was advocating for Tosh. That's that going through the trenches.
Absolutely.
How can I go through this with you? Help. That stuff's invaluable.
And everybody's not built to be that.
And not everyone can do that. Exactly. I understand that. So I'm not blaming anyone. But those are the 2 types of can I help yous that there are out there when you're looking at your village. And then lastly, strictly on your village.
Before we get past that.
Go for it.
In between. when you go through these stressful moments, and I mean, all of us, we're human, so we understand on a visceral level that your mindset's going to change when you're going through something that could be life-threatening. In the process of building these communities, building your village, make sure you understand who's who of those two perspectives.
Johnny.
Because if
Johnny,
you run the risk of, because you may not be in your right mind in a particular situation, and if you attempt to put a type
the wrong
2
person
on that type 1 need, everything crumbles and falls apart. So it's really important.
And the relationship can be adversely affected, and it shouldn't be.
Absolutely.
So that was some straight wisdom you just dropped.
Absolutely.
And I just went through that, and I just broke myself out of it last night because there is a certain person whom you know, who we became extremely close, very close. So much so where every once in a while I comment out this person now, it's like, why you know me so well? Oh, I mean, we just became tight. And through this whole ordeal, probably checked in once.
Yeah.
Like one time. And of all people, I would have thought this person, especially because even physically they're close proximity.
Right.
And given our relationship of what it seemed like it was growing into, I was surprised. And if I'm going to be honest, I was fighting because I didn't allow myself to be, but I was fighting being hurt. But then I realized it's not this person's responsibility. Exactly. And maybe I'm putting a definition on our relationship that actually it wasn't.
It wasn't, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I said, I can't put that responsibility on this person. And so I said, well, I'll tell you what, if they reach out, I'll reach out and everything's cool. I said, but I'm not going to initiate and reach out. So if 3 months go by, it's going to be because I ain't hear from you, especially when you knew what we was going through. And yesterday I was like, don't be like that.
Yeah.
I said, come on, man, don't be like that. So I hit this person yesterday with something funny. And of course they hit me back and laughed and da-da-da-da. And I said, okay, so this is where we are. This is who we are. This is what we are. I accept it for that. I won't make it any bigger or deeper than what it seemed to be.
It doesn't mean that it can't be. It just may not be that.
True.
Right now.
True. Right. Exactly. And everyone around us thought it was that. Also, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. So what you said is
important.
so true. Don't put that on somebody else.
I go through it a lot. I mean, I have that issue with a lot of. I mean, I don't have a lot of really, really close friends. I hate to be the cliche. I have a small circle, but like I didn't even tell you what was happening with it. So I told nobody.
Yeah, when you told me about the heart thing, yeah,
I didn't.
I was pissed for a hot second.
One other person knew, so don't take, and not even my mom. So like it's one of those kind of things that I don't like people to worry about me because I'm the person that worries about people. I do understand that that's something that I need to work through, but I have friends who, I had to go through that kind of talk with myself that I know where I am and how far out on this branch I will walk for them, and then realizing that that's not necessarily their stance to me. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Right.
The perspective of what we've grown into is going to be different from each side.
And do you feel that, in your opinion, are you also of the mindset of there's really nothing you can do about it anyway, so I'm not even going to burden you with it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I usually feel like. It's like, what could you possibly do?
Right, except ask me every once in a while, how you feeling today?
You all right?
How you feeling today? And sometimes you don't feel like everybody asking you how you feeling today.
Exactly. And the other thing is I check in on my friends a lot on social, and my friends are way more open on social media than I am. So a lot of times I know what people are going through, or that they just got through going through something themselves, which gives me more initiative to not initiate that stuff. Because I see you going through your own trauma, or you just got through it. So I'm going to keep that away. But it's important to one, be cognizant of it yourself, because you can destroy some very valuable relationships if you view something in a light that drives you to an emotional state if you don't get the response that you were expecting.
Right. And not to forget the fact that they have lives.
Exactly.
And in the friend that I was talking about, I had the privilege of knowing the new situation in this person's life that would absolutely take your attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had the privilege of knowing that. But sometimes you might not have the privilege of knowing that this person has something new going on in their life. So that was another reason.
Case in point.
Right, when you were mad at me, right?
When I was like, yo, we need to talk, bro.
Yes.
And then he dumps this thing. I'm like, yo. And then I'm not going to say it's funny. I don't normally do that. I'm like, listen, I gotta say, because I know that when my friends do things, I'm like, man, it's no big deal. I adjust. But me and you were real big on this accountability thing. And
Yeah, for sure.
I was counting. I'm like, okay, I need to talk to my boy because this was
very inconsiderate.
So the one time I decide to reach out and address it because I got to hold my boy accountable. Two, we talk about respecting each other. The one time I do it, it turns into it actually being
legit,
super serious.
I was gonna say because they all were legit.
Dude, I was up all that night feeling like crap. I was like, this is the reason why I don't do that. You never know what those people are going through, and I do. I look at like if you needed me for something, I'm like, bro, if I can do it, if I'm there, I'm down. I'm gonna do that.
Right.
Had I known.
Of course not.
One, I would have stayed on the beach if you would have said, hey, there's nothing you can do. But I'm like, yo, you need me to come back, whatever.
For sure.
Let me know. I'll come house sit. I'll take the dog, whatever you need. I would have been there for it. But I didn't know.
Right. Yeah, and that's why. And I didn't count it against you. So you was good.
So, and it's an emotional thing of trying to reconcile that in yourself too. Because again, I felt like crap for that whole next day. Like, man, like listen.
Even though I told him not to.
But it don't matter. Cat Williams said about, how can there's nothing I can do about how you feel about you.
Right.
Trying to keep from cussing on it. There's nothing you can do to change how I felt about me.
Right.
Because I decided to do that. And it was honestly, it was from a positive place. Like, hey man, I don't know if my boy is just getting lax, if he just needs a check. I don't know.
But I appreciate it. I like people in my life that'll respectfully check me. I'm so not against it. Yeah, no, you know what I mean? I posted that the other day. Like, I want you. If you see where I'm going crooked or left, yeah, I mean, I might hear you.
Too many yes men in the circle.
I don't need that. I don't need that.
So yeah, I didn't mean to jump off on that.
No, you good.
But that's yeah.
No, that was important to know. So last two lessons that I kind of got out of this.
It's like the count is off now.
No, the last two.
So 6 that wasn't 6. So we had 6.
That was 6.
Okay.
So this is 7. All right, but I'm gonna do 8 before 7.
Oh, so the total's 8. I've been thinking it was 7. I've been thinking.
I think I might have said 7.
I've been thinking holy number.
I might have said 7.
Okay, here we go.
But I'm gonna do 8 before 7.
All right.
And I mentioned it earlier. You know, pets can be companions, but when your body's compromised, they are flat out freaking dependents and liabilities, and annoying ones at that. Mm-hmm. So
because they still want all the attention that they used to get.
Yeah, you gotta let them out. They can't let themselves out. They can't feed themselves. So all you dog lovers and cat lovers out there, it is what it is. Just they're freaking dependents. Yeah. So the last one, and this goes back to your village. You can't make people like you, but you can make it very difficult for them not to. Okay?
Okay.
Those who like you are the ones who typically make up your village. And the more villagers you have, the better off you are when a crisis hits. So what I want to encourage people to do is to go ahead and give the compliments, share the gifts, do the favors for free, lend the ear, show the support, shower people with love. All right? There is no investment account in this world or in life that will yield a greater return of your investment when the time comes to make a withdrawal. Go ahead and build that village. Again, you can't make people like you, but you can make it hard not to.
I dig it.
So those are my biggest lessons out of all this. And the village that we had, I want to name names, but I'm so scared I'm going to forget somebody.
Don't do it, bro. Don't
so all y'all know who do it. All y'all know what you did.
I've warned you on 2 other occasions.
Yeah, and I'm not going to.
You did it, and you got in trouble both times.
I'm not going to, but y'all know who you are. And because it's just because I want to acknowledge them publicly so bad.
Take some time, write the list out.
Right, yeah, you're right. Don't try to go off the top.
Edits. And then we'll revisit.
Yeah, but y'all know who you are. You came to the house, you sent the cards, you sent the money, you bought the Uber and the Lyft cards. You bought, equipment, you stayed overnight, you cooked, you came and lived with us. All of those things. You took me to the grocery store. You asked me if I needed groceries. You know who you are. Our village, I will put our village up against anyone.
Dang, I feel like I didn't do enough.
Seriously. But then I had the people on deck. Yeah. Then I had the people who call me if you need me. And the beautiful thing was there weren't too many other people I had to call because my village was handling stuff. Yeah. So not only did I have a first string, I had a freaking second string village.
You know what? I don't mind coming off the bench.
Yeah, but you on a team.
I'll definitely come off.
We have a hell of a team. So to say thank you is beyond. It's so.
It doesn't do it justice.
It's insufficient.
Yeah. You don't. You can't. you can't quantify that kind of gratitude into words. I don't think we as, and this is what I'm not going to try to get overly metaphysical. We haven't evolved to that point to where we can.
Was the word?
Is that what you were
looking
looking for
earlier? Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've gotten to the point yet to where, unless we just go into a pure feeling state, we don't have words for that level of gratitude when people step up like that. And the sad thing is that everyone hasn't experienced that yet, so they don't even know what that emotion feels like.
And I hope you're not in a position where you need to be honest with you.
The thing is that at some point,
unless
in life,
it's all good.
At some point in life, we all will be. At some point. It's just that hopefully you have done the work to build that village to be able to experience.
And that's the work. And that's the work that I was listening. So go back and just kind of listen to the list that I just said, because that's the kind of work that does that puts people on your team, that gets them ready to go, because they go back and remember, oh man, they're always there for me. They always give me compliments. Every time I need to talk to them, they're there. Da, 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 da. So those are the things that work. So thank you guys all so much. And people say stuff about, man, I almost died, blah, blah, blah. To sit there and see it for myself and have a doctor say, well, this is the daunting task that I have to do. And this is the one that concerns me the most. And I'm like, shh. You know, then
you said the words. You said the words.
No, you know what? I honestly, only I said the words when my knee slipped off the bed by mistake and it couldn't support itself. I said the word then. But to hear that, and like the OBGYN, she explained what happened, but she did it so delicately and sugarcoated it so much, I didn't appreciate the situation.
Severity of what it was.
And so shout out, and I'm going to say her name, shout out to Dr. Lelos, if I'm saying her name right.
So her bedside manner was too good.
She cared, but she realized that right now protecting your feelings is not what's important, because you need to know the situation that your wife is in.
Okay.
And so she gave it to me between the eyes with dragon glass, Game of Thrones. So, and I appreciated that so much, because I was like, whoa, because when the first doctor said it, I wasn't like, dang, man, I might lose my wife, whatever. I wasn't even there. And when this lady was like, no, you need to understand, we're not out of the woods. We are hour to hour, and this is what could happen. And now I'm not sure how. I was like, wait, what are you telling me right now? Yeah. You know, and I'm gonna just share a super emotional moment with you guys. And I told her this, and I don't know how to feel about it, but when I thought about losing my wife, I actually felt more bad for her, because she was incredibly scared of dying, and tore me apart when she couldn't really talk. And we were doing things where I was holding my hand up and she was trying to spell letters out on my hand and stuff. And she started the word C-A. I said, can? She said, yeah. I said, yeah. And then she said, I said, can I? And she crossed her hands. I said, can you go to sleep? And she said, yes. And I was like, this woman just asked me for permission to go to sleep. And later she said, I don't want to die. Oh, Johnny. I was like, oh my God. And she said it twice. I said, she is so afraid of dying. And I was like, please go to sleep. You're not going to die. 'Cause this is when she was doing better. And so I just felt bad for her when I was thinking about losing my wife. But what almost broke me was when I said, the thought came through my mind was like, I said, damn, I'm about to lose my best friend. I became melted butter. I'm so glad no one's in that waiting room, because I'm almost going to lose it now. I almost lost it. When I thought about losing my best friend, I almost lost it, because there was a time when we were in Mexico, and it's probably like the third time we were going to get divorced, and we had that talk, and when I told her, I said, listen, because she was going through health issues anyway, and I said, look, you're my best friend. I said, we've come to an agreement where sometimes we just don't work as spouse. When we walk as husband and wife is when we seem to have our most problems. But when I remember you're my best friend, that's when things are always the best. I said, so at that point, we were on the beach. I forget that. And we had agreed to go ahead and call it a day. We agreed. And so I said, well, look, I said, this is what you need to understand. I said, I have no doubts you're going to find someone new. I have no doubts you're probably going to remarry. I said, but he needs to understand that I'm going to be in your life. I said, so he needs to be okay with that. I said, it won't be sexual or emotional. Affectional, sensual. I said, but there's no way I'm leaving you high and dry dealing with what you're dealing with. I said, so he needs to know that I may be the second person you call. Or if he's not available, then I'm going to be the first person you call. I'm going to be one that has to take you to the hospital. God forbid if that happens. I'm going to be one checking in on you. He needs to be comfortable with that. I said, I'm not abandoning my best friend. And that gave her the biggest peace in the world. And at that point, we both had peace of going ahead and getting divorced. Because at that point, I knew then I wasn't going to quote unquote lose her. And she said the same thing. She goes, I would love for you. She said, that means the most to me. And of course, it ended up not happening. So and I hope that that's for someone who's listening. Because you guys kind of had to like each other first before you got married. And there has to come a time when you have to step back from the mess and remember that. And be like, we were friends first. Because marriage does bring in a whole bunch of different stuff. When she farted on your leg when you was friends, it was cute. But then for some reason, when you're married, now it annoys you. Back up to when it was cute. Why was it cute? Because it wasn't a big freaking deal. And because she's the one who farted on your leg. That saved everything. And so sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes be like, oh, is this your wife? Whatever. I was like, yes, my best friend. And some people are like, man, that's your wife. You need to recognize that. Well, you know what? For me and for us, we recognize each other as best friends first. Mm-hmm. The wife stuff, that all will come as it comes. Mm-hmm. So I have my best friend.
That's all you can ask for.
And I'm good.
That's it.
I can't talk no more, y'all, because
I'm not going to. That's it. I'm going to say this, dude.
Yeah.
One, I can 100% relate and emote from and to that because we're the same way.
Yeah.
And
I'd see that in you and Gwen
I'm fighting
all the time.
I'm fighting back the same tears right now because I know exactly, which is, to be honest, why I did not tell her about the health stuff because I knew emotionally what it would do. Again, probably not the best decision to make, and I did get chewed out later after.
Of course, she had to do that though.
But it is. It's when you have that partner, that actual partner. That when we say ride or die, we don't play with that. That's as legit as it gets, and I see the same thing in y'all. So I'm here fighting back the same tears.
Yeah, no, it's like that. So
I'm gonna just say this. I'm happy to be back in this room with you.
You ain't lying, dog. Like for real.
It's been a wild month. I don't know if we're all the way out of the woods yet, but I got my partner here.
Yeah.
And through the life stuff that we're gonna be dealing with separately.
And I'm here.
Podcast.
Yeah, because y'all understand like Johnny and I, we're boys outside of the podcast.
Yeah, it's not just
the podcast happened because we're boys.
This is true.
To be honest with you.
Very, very true.
So yeah.
And I'm looking forward to just kind of getting back on the tracks, man. Diving deeper into more of this life stuff. Because I think we could have you on the business. The business ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, so speaking of which, well, two last things. I know some of y'all kind of got excited, but so your boy's not divorced, so relax. But if it were to ever happen, you need to understand that Tasha's gonna be in the mix.
She gonna be there.
Oh, that was stupid.
You in trouble.
So we are going to revamp something a little bit. So L.I.F.E on podcast, as you know, L.I.F.E is an acronym, stands for listening, inspiring friends, and entertainment and everywhere. But what we have found is that we talk about that life is so much bigger than entertainment. Entertainment is what we do. It's our livelihood. It's our career. It's our vocation. So we will always share that. But life is now pretty much just listening, inspiring friends everywhere. Just about life. This will allow us to talk about more topics. And it seems like a lot of the topics that you guys have gravitated to have had nothing to do with entertainment. So we tie entertainment in, but it really has had nothing to do with entertainment.
And
so,
we sit there and scratch our heads. Well, why? This was the one that everybody wanted to have. And then we see one where we was just like, all right, we're just gonna make an episode, and then it's the highest hit.
So we're making that pivot now. Those of you that do get a lot of entertainment knowledge and wisdom and advice from us, that's not going anywhere. We're still going to be dropping those nuggets because at the end of the day, it's what we do. But we're just not going to limit it to that anymore. And it also allows us to have more exciting guests. That's something else. You guys are going to have way more guests.
Everybody in entertainment, some of our people boring, man. Some boring people in the entertainment industry.
So welcome back, Johnny.
Yes.
Y'all, we are happy to be back. Thanks for your support while we were gone. As always, you can still go to lifeonpodcast.com if you want to check out the latest episode. I have someone working on videos, so there'll be videos you can watch. You can start watching these on YouTube a lot more often. And then if you want to check out what's going on with Johnny, you can always reach him.
JUSTJONY VAN on all of your social media platforms.
Everywhere.
I wanted to switch it up.
Oh, okay. I'm so used to the everywhere.
Everywhere.
On me, Instagram is Stone letter 07, Stone 007. And on Twitter, I'm Stone 007.
Even with the hiatus, we still ain't got them to come
he's not going nowhere, man. He's not going nowhere.
We're going to find you.
But we appreciate you guys.
Click like, click subscribe, share with a friend.
Yeah, we're excited to be back, and we will talk to you next week. We're out of here. Peace.
So back to what I was saying. What I was saying.